New animal room tour. Hello and welcome back to Jack's Mini Zoo, and today I'm going to be giving you a room tour of my new animal setup. So let's get straight on with it. So we'll do the top and then we'll go down to the bottom. So first off we have the mountain minnows. So these are my white-carded mountain minnows. I haven't named all of them, but I've got my original one, which is Dom. There they are in there. So these guys are in a 4-gallon tank. They're going to be having an upgrade. They're going to be having one of those tanks soon. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and we'll be moving on to the next enclosure. So along a bit we have the tadpole snails. So at the moment I've moved the tadpole snails because these guys used to be in this tank, but I wanted them to breed a bit more because these guys were actually eating the eggs. So I put them in this spare tank with all the live plants, and they are eating all the algae from all sides, and I can't see any at the moment, but I'm letting them breed a lot more. This is one right there. You won't be able to see it. But yeah, I'm letting them breed a lot more until they become a bigger population. Then I'll add them to the 2 tanks that I have. So along a bit in this tank, this is a new enclosure. Let me just open it. So this is a new enclosure. So in this enclosure, I said that I put sun beetles, millipede, and my Madagascar hissing cockroach in. But I've actually moved the millipede into this smaller enclosure to keep an eye on it until it grows big enough so it can actually be put in here. So that's the millipede. I'll put a little clip of the millipede in now. Okay, so this next enclosure is my Mexican red knee tarantula. So there it is right there. It's too small to see with the camera, so I'll put a picture up right here. But this is his little enclosure, and very soon these guys will be moving into a spare tank that I have, and because he'll be getting bigger, he'll be going into this tank once he's fully grown. So I'll talk more about him on the next video, because I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but he has actually gotten bigger because he has just molted. So we'll be moving on to the stick insects. So these are the second oldest animal that I have in here. Not these specific ones, but the species. So these are the Indian stick insects. So up here are the baby ones, and in there are the adults. There you can see one there, and there's one hanging off there. But it's the easiest pet that I own again. And then we're moving on to the second fish tank that I have. So if you can see, just in that tunnel, that's the weathered loach, that's Lenny, and then I'm not sure if I can move that. You can just see the goldfish that I have in there with him. They are doing really well. I feed them twice a day to make sure that they all get fed. Filters constantly on, lights on. It's a good little setup. These will also be getting a upgrade because the goldfish and the loach will be getting a lot bigger, so they'll be going into a 10-gallon, and that's why these guys will be going into this tank. So now onto this big tank right here, well, enclosure right here. This is the one that I built, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but the female and the smaller male have molted. So the female is the biggest stick insect that I have now, but the male should molt one more time and they'll be even bigger, which will be good to see. But yeah, I'll just get the female out right now. As you can see, she has grown a lot. So this is the giant spiny stick insect, or spiny leaf insect. So she has gotten much bigger. The males actually fly. That was my most recent video, link up here. But yeah, so she's nearly the size of my hand. I think she might grow a little bit more, I'm not completely sure, but soon I should be getting some eggs. So make sure to follow my Instagram, and I might be sending them on there. Instagram is Jack's Mini Zoo, just search it up and it'll come up. But yeah, so these guys are massive now. These are one of the most interesting stick insect species you can own, because the Indians are more like I do like the Indians, but these guys get much bigger and are a lot, well, cooler. So we'll move on to next one. So in this smaller enclosure houses my house spider. So house spider may not sound that cool, but I actually really enjoy him. He is the most lively pet that I own. As soon as I put a prey in there, he is straight. He won't hesitate to come and attack it. I'll put a video clip of him eating it now. So this big tank right here, this is Emerald's tank. So she is my first reptile. As you can see, she's also just shed. There's a lot of shed on the ground. I'm going to pick that up in a minute. She'll be under her little hide. I'm going to get her out just quickly. So she's my first pet, and definitely the easiest beginner reptile to keep in my perspective, because of how calm, well, I say calm and she's running all over the place, but how handleable they can be. So Emerald is not happy at the moment. She hasn't been fed yet. It's her feeding day today, so she's a bit energetic, but usually I can handle her a lot. As you can see, she's got a nice fat tail, keep her healthy. But yeah, so I would, if anyone does want a beginner reptile and is looking for a beginner reptile, leopard gecko is the one to go for, or most types of geckos, so like leopard gecko or crested geckos, they are the best beginner reptiles, I would say. So now we're going to be moving on to the last tank in the collection. This is my personal favourite tank. So this is the only bioactive enclosure that I own, and this is Venom's tank. Venom, my Asian forest scorpion. So as you can see, I have a lot of different ferns in here. I have Hartley fern, I have other ferns, I'm not too sure on the names. I have small bromeliads and lots of different types of moss and dead leaf litter. And Venom is not the only creature living in this tank, so it's a bioactive, so it's got cockroaches, mealworms which are digging up in the ground, and I also have tropical grey woodlice. But I'll put a picture of Venom up right now. So the last enclosure, so this is Sheldon, my Horsefield tortoise's tank. This is the biggest enclosure that I own. This is custom built into the desk area, as you can see. So he has a lot more space to roam around. I'll just quickly go and get him. As you can see, he's in that corner. That is his favourite corner. So I've heard a lot of things about that you shouldn't keep tortoises on wood chips, but that's why I have mixed it between a tortoise terrain, which is like a dirt substrate, and wood chips. So if he doesn't like the wood chips, he has the choice to come onto the tortoise terrain, but actually I've noticed that he prefers the wood chips, so I'm not going to change it. I like it how it is, to be honest, and it gives me a lot more stuff to do. I will be adding little other hides to his enclosure and other different things, but as you can see, there he is. He most of the day, because this is a new tank for him, most of the time he's roaming around, but as soon as I put him in, he tried to escape. That's the thing with tortoises, they don't appreciate the space that they have and want to escape. But yeah, so that's the last animal. I will just show you the storage area in a minute, but yeah, so this is by far my favourite enclosure that is custom built, because of how it fits so nicely into the desk area. It's underneath all the other animals, and how much space Sheldon now has, because in the future, as soon as I know the gender of Sheldon, because it could be Shelley, you know, as a girl, I would like to actually start breeding Horsefield tortoises, so this would be a perfect size, and if it's not, I could even extend it to go under these two as well. So I've always got that option, but I would love to start breeding them, but because he's only 2 years old, I do not know the gender of him until he's about 4 or 5, so we'll have to wait for that. But now onto the storage. So this is where I keep all my reptile things. So everything that needs to have reptiles I've got, so all of like the spare bulbs in there. I've got cork bark stuff, reptiles, bark, thermometers, fish supplies, loads of different things. I've got the dirt, I've got the spare tank in the back, and this little shelf is for my feeders. So I've got my mealworm breeder, got my bean weevils, my waxworms, dubia roaches, but I've also got Frank, my garden snail, in there. I'll quickly get him out and show you him. And then I've also got my locust. So this is pretty much my feeder drawer except for Frank, but I quite like it just there because it looks nice and tidy. But I'll quickly show you Frank, and then that'll probably be the end of the video. Okay, so this is Frank right here. He's a garden snail. He's doing really well. He loves his new enclosure. It's a bigger change from what he did have. He was in that tank right there, but now he's in this big tub. It's got a nice big water dish, lots of different food. Also, he's got his cuttlefish bone, little hide, and a little bit of cork bark to climb across. But he's loving it. He's doing great, actually. I call him Frank. It could be a female. I don't actually know how to tell if a snail is a male or a female. So if you do know, make sure to tell me in the comments below. But that's about it for today. So well, thank you for watching Jack's Mini Zoo. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, and I'll see you on the next one.